Assalamu alaikum, conscious entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad channel. In tonight's episode, we'll have a spiritual discussion for all us entrepreneurs to reflect on. Sometimes we're so busy with our businesses because the world doesn't stop just because it's Ramadan for us. But it is important that we stop, and take time to reflect and connect. Be sure to like, subscribe, tell a friend we're live, and hit that notification button and the super chat buttons. And I'll see you all in a few minutes on the other side of these commercials. You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Ramadan Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Wishing you all peace and love during this Ramadan season. Well, in this whole year, I would say. And I pray that your fast is smooth and enlightening. So far, so good over here. It's been pretty smooth and very, very enlightening. Tonight, we're talking about elevated places. And let me just acknowledge you all in the chat. Happy Thursday, Mom. Great evening, brothers and sisters. That's from Sister Betty. Nubia Latifa said, Thursday salutations, Sister Sajdah and the Winner's Circle. Thank you very much. Sister Aletha says, Ramadan Mubarak. Greetings, everyone. The other day, I was thanking Allah for continuing to elevate me. I realized what a blessing it is that I just continue to elevate. And I started to really reflect on elevation and what was inspiring me to think about that and thank Allah for that. And as I reflected, I turned to Surah 7 of the Holy Quran, which is entitled Elevated Places. And I thought to discuss that here tonight. Y'all know me, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I'm an international business and real estate professional. I'm an artist and business is my canvas. I struggle with all that. You know, I hate the way we feel compelled to define ourselves by what we've accomplished, which is the past. I prefer to define myself by what I'm striving for, and that is as a powerful manifester, a God. And I'm going to take a minute because I think I can drink a sip of tea. I'm going to do that for a minute. All right, so welcome to the channel. My goal is to help us get in front of some checks, solve some problems, take our lives to the next level, and help us to discover and preserve our history. I also love helping others to discover, own, and monetize their history, their authenticity, and their talents. I like helping people solve problems. You know, economic development and economic freedom is very important to me. It's time. So on this show, I give you mental strategies to help you navigate the world of business. I like to put people up on game. I charge for services because in many cases, if you don't know the game, you can't play the game. But if you don't know the game, you'll also remain on a hamster wheel until you figure it out. So as I spent some time this week in gratitude, thanking Allah for continued elevation, I sought the guidance of Surah 7 of the Holy Quran, as I mentioned, and I reflected on elevated places. And I found it interesting that elevated places is plural, meaning more than one. So not an elevated place, but elevated places. Not a place or one place in particular, or a single point in space or a specific place but places, plural, as in more than one space. What came to me as I read the first section, which is entitled Elevated, it came to me when I read the first section. This is what I thought of. I said, you know, elevated places is where my opponents meet their doom. And I was then reminded when I did read that title of that section 1, which is called Opponent's Doom. Elevated places is where our opponents meet their doom. Doom is defined as death, destruction, or a terrible fate. What do I mean by our opponents meet our doom at those elevated places? See, I see all those demons inside of us, all the trauma, all the triggers, all the negative stuff. Anything that's stopping us from elevating into the mind of God is an opponent. I try to always focus inward when I study. I always ask, what could this be addressing inside of me? What have I had to overcome that was in opposition to my elevation? What challenges have I had to work through? And what did this situation come to teach me? What part of me has to meet its doom in order for me to experience the elevation that I am so grateful for? What fears, what personality quirks, what shortcomings, what traumas and defects do I need to face? Which of those have I faced? And then what I always could see as a pattern is that once I faced them, those demons, those quirks, those shortcomings, those traumas, those fears, I realized that I was then elevated. How did those fears and all of that manifest itself? It manifested itself in everyday life, in everyday situation. And as I began to overcome that stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm elevating. Y'all all right in the chat? Let me just check on y'all over here. All right, so I realized, I don't know what y'all sipping on now that we can sip, but I got me some homemade chai. So good. I realized that every time somebody had secretly plotted against me, every time somebody talked about me and I overcame it and circumvented the situation that they was trying to create, I experienced an elevation. Every time somebody lied on me, every time somebody judged me or misunderstood me or abused me or talked about me or mistreated me, and I learned how to navigate those circumstances, Allah's reward for me was elevation. Every time I've succeeded at manifesting in the face of controversy, I was elevated. Every knock, every challenge presented a new elevated place. Every time I beat the odds, I landed on an elevated place. Every time I correct an error of my ways or atone for a wrongdoing, I move to an elevated place. I'm ever so grateful for the opportunity of elevation. I'm so glad that elevated places is plural and not singular, and that we have a chance to continue to elevate over and over and over again. And as I reflected, I then realized that those elevated places are places of higher learning, places of higher living. And then it hit me that those elevated places are my livelihood. See, livelihood is a means of supporting one's existence. It's our sustenance. Because without those challenges and without overcoming and working through those challenges, we can't elevate. And without elevation, we can't go to new heights. Without overcoming obstacles, we don't rise above our existing condition. So my livelihood, I realized, is not what I earn annually. What I earn annually is a result of my livelihood. The resources I have access to are a direct result of those elevated places. Verse 10 of Surah 7, entitled Elevated Places in the Holy Quran, states this: "And certainly we established you in the earth and made therein means of livelihood for you. But little it is that you give thanks." And I thought, wow, Allah, we don't give thanks to those challenges because we don't know that that's our livelihood. See, this open enemy has made us think that his value on us is our livelihood. So he assigns a value. He says, I can make a certain amount of money off of you. So in return, I'll pay you $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year. Or in exchange for a service, I'll pay you something and that becomes your livelihood. He told us that lie. But Allah is saying to us, and certainly we establish you in the earth. We put you here and established you here and made therein means of livelihood for you. But little it is that you give thanks. Our livelihood has been reduced to how much money we make, how valuable we are to someone else. That's not our livelihood. That is not what we're supposed to live for. We are supposed to live for elevation and for rising above our existing spiritual condition, elevating towards the mind of God, enjoying the journey as He makes us all up into Himself. Our livelihood is connected to moments of elevation that occur when we defeat our internal opponents and our external opponents. It's when those opponents meet their doom. Y'all all right? I see y'all in the chat. Elevation, elevation. Hit that super chat if you're enjoying this. If this is resonating with you, hit the super chat. You see the support options going across the bottom. You know, I find it interesting that Iblis's rebellion is narrated in this surah, Elevated Places. Satan has, in fact, taken away our ability to recognize our opportunities to elevate. He's tricked us into literally worshiping the sunken places. We're on a race to the bottom. The stuff that gets the most likes, the most hits, are the lowest of low stuff. The movies we love the most are the raunchiest, the most sunken movies, the deepest, darkest, dirtiest, ugliest movies. They get the biggest ratings. Anything that takes us down, He makes us famous for. He rewards us for it until we are so comfortable that we settle there. Where have you settled? That's a sunken place. And then use deceptive intelligence to explain yourself, explain away your reason for being there. When we're in that sunken place, we talk about it over and over again. We're so addicted to sunken places that we even compete with others over whose sunken place is the worst. Oh, you got a headache? Oh, you won't believe how bad my headache was. Oh, this happened to you, girl. Let me tell you what happened to me. As soon as we learn about someone in a sunken place, we start mentally placing ourselves there, thinking about what we would do, how we would handle it, or even comparing ourselves and judging the other person. We are so quick to dwell in our sunken place because sometimes our parents lived there or because our grandparents lived there. Verse 28 of Surah 7, Elevated Places, says, "And when they commit an indecency, they say, we found our fathers doing this, and Allah has enjoined it on us. Say, surely Allah enjoins not indecency. Do you say of Allah what you know not?" We don't even know what we're talking about. We just start rapping. Yeah, he in the street because his daddy was in the street. Yeah, she out tricking because tricking is in her DNA. They on drugs because it's genetic. Yeah, I got a disease because it runs in my family. Come on, y'all. Your ascension to elevated places is a beacon of upliftment for humanity. Celebrate the ascension. Sit down and meditate and pray and ask Allah to help you overcome your weaknesses so that you can sit in those elevated places. Just your ascension can resurrect the whole of humanity. You inspire people. Your life inspires people. Stop beating yourself up over what you've done. Forgive yourself for maybe you haven't done the best you could. Maybe you walked away from something you should have focused on. Maybe you let somebody play you out of your position. It's okay. Get back on post. Get back up to bat. You realize that your story is so powerful? Your story is your currency. It's yours. You own it. It's your testimony of the greatness of God. When that bottom rail is raised to the top, the whole of humanity will understand that God is present and that he has given us a process, a way of living. Let me read for you a few verses I want to from this surah. We got time. I'm going to start with verse 40. I'm going to just read these 7 verses and then one more after that. And I want you to just reflect. Like I said, take a moment, hit the super chat. Let me know in the chat if you're feeling this, if it's resonating with you. Verse 40 begins like this. Those who reject our messages and turn away from them haughtily, the doors of heaven will not be open for them, nor will they enter the garden until the camel passes through the eye of the needle. And thus do we reward the guilty. I'm gonna refrain from talking on every verse because I got something every time. It goes on. They shall have a bed of hell, and over them coverings of it, and thus do we requite the wrongdoers. And as for those who believe and do good, we impose not on any soul a duty beyond its scope. Let me say that again. We impose not on any soul a duty beyond your scope. They are the owners of the garden. Therein they abide. And we shall remove whatever of ill feelings is in their hearts. Rivers flow beneath them, and they say, all praise is due to Allah, who guided us to this. And we would not have found the way if Allah had not guided us. Certainly, the messengers of our Lord brought the truth, and it will be cried out to them. This is the garden which you are made to inherit for what you did. I hope y'all listening. And the owners of the gardens call out to the companions of the fire. We have found that which our Lord promised us to be true. Have you too found that which your Lord promised to be true? They will say yes. Then a crier will cry out among them, the curse of Allah is on the wrongdoers, who hinder men from Allah's way and seek to make it crooked, and they are disbelievers in the hereafter. And between them is a veil, and on the elevated places are men who know all their marks, and they call out to the owners of the garden, peace be to you. They have not yet entered it, though they hope. And then their eyes are turned towards the companion of the fire. They say, our Lord, place us not with the unjust people. Be grateful for what you have overcome. Do not make gods out of your problems. Put that in the chat. Do not make a god out of your problems. Do not make a god out of your shortcomings. Do not worship the negativity. There is no God but Allah. Verse 54 of this same surah says, surely your Lord is Allah, who created the heavens and the earth in 6 periods, and he is established on the throne of power. He makes the night to cover the day, which it pursues incessantly, and he created the sun and the moon and the stars, made subservient by his command. Surely his is the creation and the command. Blessed is Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Allah desires to make himself known. Y'all know that. He's everywhere. When he loves someone, he makes it known. If you don't feel loved by Allah, just look around. If your heart is beating and you don't even got to think about it, you woke up, you're breathing, Allah loves you. You cannot deny his love for you. If you look for him, you will find him. He's everywhere. He's in everything and in everyone. So as you're striving to navigate the challenges of your business during Ramadan, be reminded of what Allah is calling upon you to overcome. He desires to elevate us. So don't neglect your spirituality while you're busy trying to work your business and solve your business problems. Don't neglect your spirituality when you're dealing with other people. Don't neglect your spirituality when you're thinking about how you're going to price your items and where you're going to sell, how you're going to sell, and what you're going to sell. What do you have to let go of in order to lighten your spirit and elevate? And as you're working through the challenge, don't forget to go deep into yourself and work on whatever it is inside of you that bubbles up in the face of the challenge. I always say, who do I need to become in order to elevate through this? I often ask Allah that. This is what we can learn through our business challenges during the month of Ramadan and beyond. Who do I need to become in order to elevate through this? Remember that business challenges are usually all just one big math problem. The more you elevate, the more skillful you become at math. You are working your way through becoming a master mathematician. If the math ain't mathing, then something is wrong with your math problem. Just check each variable, solve for the unknown, know when you need to add, subtract, multiply, divide in order to get the answer. But just understand that you can solve it. Just got to go through and figure out how to solve it and who you need to become. Because a lot of times when you let go of things, let me give you an example. Have you ever been upset and you was looking for something? Like you might have been mad, or you might have been angry or nervous or late, and you're looking for something and you can't find it. And so you just go ahead and leave the house like, oh, forget it, I can't find it. And then you get somewhere and you calm down, and then you see where it is. Or you get home and you've let go of the stress of not being able to find it earlier. And then you see it. And then you find it. You just had to overcome something. You just had to get through something. So let's work on that during this Ramadan. As we're solving our business problems, as we're challenged, there's always challenges. Why are there always challenges in business? Let me tell you why. Because we're in a world where somebody is always competing for us to come and do something that adds value to them. And so there's a system around which we are navigating, right? This big old math problem that is posing challenges. But it's okay. We can get past it. We can overcome it. We can get through it. We can move around it, whatever it takes. But let's first stop for a moment and remember that it's Ramadan and put that first. But then also going deep inside of ourselves and saying, who do I need to become in order to have that thing over there that I want? What emotions am I going to feel when I get there? And start dwelling there and dwelling in that. What do I need to do? I hope this helps us as business people during Ramadan. I don't want us to be one of those vendors that gets their tables turned over by Jesus. Y'all remember that in the Bible? We don't want to be that. We want to be conscious entrepreneurs. We want to approach this with spirituality, because what do we want? We want to be able to sustain ourselves off of our own authenticity and our own talents. And so that's going to require that we elevate and we enjoy those elevated places. And how do we get there to enjoy those elevated places? By going inside of ourselves and overcoming ourselves. It's easier said than done. I know that. But it's important. It's important that we work through it and we figure it out. So that's all I had to tell y'all today. Let me know in the chat how you felt about it. If this resonated with you, hit the super chat button. Support the channel here. Next week, I'm going to try to have a blockchain talk on the show, because I want you all to understand how we are using the blockchain to preserve our history, to preserve the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House, and all that we're working on, how we tokenized it, what that means, fractionalizing it, and these are additional preservation techniques. So there's the physical preservation, right? There's the replastering. There's the re-tuck pointing and all the things that we've had to do with the physical asset. And there's the restoration there. But then there's the digital restoration, making sure that it goes out into the digital universe and people around the world can access it by owning a piece of it, that digital piece of the coin. We got most of you all, a lot of you all's forms in this week. We're working on getting them airdropped to your wallet. It's taken a little longer because we just had to get everything set up. And there was a few technical things that we've had to call technical support for, but we're working through it and we'll get there. This is new. And so I want to bring somebody on next week. So we're going to talk about how the blockchain can be used to preserve history. We want our brothers and sisters around the world to be able to see the house. So we're working on the virtual model for the house, which I'm very excited about, and you'll be able to log on. We're working on the last funds. I appreciate what each and every one of you have donated. You've helped with some of the day-to-day stuff. We got to chunk away at this big goal that we got. The house is real pretty. It costs a nice, pretty penny to sit there and look pretty. And so I appreciate all of your support and your donations. And, when you all buy a coin, you don't know that's paying a utility bill. It's, taking care of something. After all, it's a mansion. Anyway, so let's see who we got in the chat. I see Brother Ronald Robinson said Ramadan Mubarak. Sister Betty sent us some fire. Sister Aletha sent some hearts and fire. Sister Betty says, so true. Brother Victor says Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. Walaikum salam. I see y'all in here talking. Okay, Nubia Latifa, welcome. I see you. Okay, you all. So if you don't have any questions, comments, anything you want me to talk about and expound upon, we can end early and everybody can go get something to eat. I didn't eat yet. I heated up my tea and waited until the sun went down. This just never tasted so good. But I have not eaten yet. However, I'm happy to answer questions, talk about anything. You're welcome, Sister Nubia Latifa. I hope you guys will continue to support the channel. I'm watching how, y'all know, ever since Country Wayne went on Club Shay Shay and said he was making $20 million a year. And I appreciate Country Wayne because Country Wayne, with his sketches, he tries to be, relatively clean. And I know how a lot of the raunchy shows, not Country Wayne's, but a lot of the raunchy stuff and the gossip stuff and the negative stuff where we get on here and lie about people and all this stuff that they do. A lot of times that's the stuff that's getting the ratings. That's the stuff that everybody's supporting. That's the stuff that's making the money, people hitting the super chat and people going in the Cash App. There's this one blogger I saw, and I listened to her show, and it's like She was just literally like making up stuff about people. I don't know if she had any evidence for what she was saying about these folks. And people were just donating, and she was thanking them and Cash App and holding up her phone and showing the $20,000 worth of Cash App. And I was like, good Lord, for lying. So let's support content like this. I try to do my best to elevate you with everything that I put out. I really, really appreciate your support. I pray for each and every one of you every time you do support, every time you come on. But I realize that I can't be shy about letting you all know that your support is needed, especially if we're going to be out here doing for self, loving one another and supporting one another. We got to be real about that. And we have to take away the stigma of needing one another, because it's a stigma. Like if we say, hey, I need your help, there's a stigma. We don't want to say it because it's like we think it makes us look smaller or less than, but that's not the case. We got to be open with that. We got to see our brother or sister in need. I'm always telling you all, look, whatever I can do, I'm here. And I think we have to all be like that towards one another. Give of our gifts and talents to expand our community, and, building businesses, helping with business systems, building infrastructures. That's one of my gifts. And so I try to support in that way. I think this next phase of our growth and development has to involve economic development in order for us to be free, in order for us to really rise up into the thinking of God. We got to get free. We have to get ourselves to the point where we are owning and monetizing ourselves, and money is no longer an obstacle. And I know that sounds big, and it sounds probably bigger than what we think we can accomplish, especially in the face of us hearing about bad times to come, depression, famine. But more millionaires were made during the time of the Depression than any other time in history. And so there's no reason to believe that we can't earn our freedom in the face of the fall of this world. So as the dollar is plummeting, we need to just be thinking outside of the box. Let's find a way to elevate ourselves. Let's find a way. Now, look, they down. Let's negotiate our freedom. We can do it. We just have to get ourselves out of that colonialized mindset and believing that certain conditions have to be in place in order for us to be successful. Okay. So Brother Ronald says, may Allah bless us all during this holy month of Ramadan as we build upon our new habits to add to our spiritual life. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you all. Appreciate you all very much. Go and enjoy some food. I'm going to go heat up some stuff. And I will see you all Saturday, inshallah, for the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. And if you have a commemorative Elijah coin and you have not registered it on the form that's in the bio, please do that so that you can get your digital asset sent over to you. So make sure you register your coin. And if you don't have a physical asset, there are ways across the bottom that will tell you how you can get that physical asset. I'm telling y'all, it's something about these coins. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad won't let me let it go. It's something about these coins. So I'm just asking y'all to trust me on this one because it's something about it. All right. May Allah bless you all. Peace and blessings. Ramadan Mubarak. And I will see you all Saturday, inshallah.